Welcome back everyone to another video, and obviously as you can tell by the title of the video and you know my background, we're not out fishing unfortunately. The weather this weekend is horrible and the past week has been a bit busy for me with work, so I haven't had a chance to get out on the beach. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to take the time and show you how I make a 3-rig clip down with circle hooks and dongles, because as obviously if you've been sticking around my past, most of my videos that you see, I use a lot of clipped rigs, whether it be for ray fishing, mixed species fishing, or whatever really. Most of my general fishing, I use them and I have really good success rates with them, even for the bigger fish, as you've seen in my last few videos. So I thought, why not take the chance to show you how I do it, because I've had a few people ask me, to be honest. So yeah, I thought, why not do one? So first thing I'll show you is all the tools you need to make the rig, and obviously then all your terminal tackle you need to make the rig. So there's nothing really else to do other than get to it then, guys. So let's get on with it. Right, so for making any rig at all, you obviously need your scissors, snips, and then being a clip down, you've got crimps on there, you need pliers. Now I like narrow ended, sort of thin nose pliers, as you'll see later. I'll explain that further a bit later on in the video. And then for coming towards clipping the rig up and tensioning the rig, I hang it on a stand. So you need your lead or sinker, weight, whatever you want to call it. And then all the components now. So starting at the bottom, you need your bait clip. Now I use a imp, good old imp. I don't think you can beat an imp myself. You can use the splashdowns, but I'm not a massive fan of them, only for the fact that an imp, even if your hook didn't come off when it obviously impacts the water, there's still a chance for your hook to come out on a slack line, purely because it's basically an upside down hook, so it can just drop out if it wants. But if a splashdown failed and that the shield stayed down, the hook is impossible for it to come out. It's just trapped in there. So I'm not a huge fan of them, and the only time I use them is with big baits, because big baits tend to come off imps sometimes. So then moving on to terminal tackle, hooks. Myself, I use the Tronics Pro circles in a 1/0 for most of my 3-hookers, for when it's fishing for sort of like whiting, dogs, straps, rays, that kind of stuff. A 1/0's plenty. You don't need a massive hook with a circle, I find. I find the smaller hooks, when it goes in the corner of the fish's mouth, it's locked in. They're a bit different to J hooks, I find. But yeah, 1/0's plenty. I mean, some of the rigs are even 1s, and I've had loads of rays and decent sized fish on them as well. So they're the hooks I use. What I'll do, I'll drop all the links below for all the individual stuff I use, just so you guys can see it in further detail. Now lines, I use 80-pound braids for my dongles. You don't need anything thinner than that, because if you go thinner than 80, I find it weakens the dongle because you put the hook through the braid. So 80 is more than enough. I buy it in massive bulk spools and then use empty spools like this stuff, or Asso and Visi Silk. That's an empty spool, so I just filtered on that just to make it an easier spool to work with. What else do we need? Pop-ups if you're fishing where you want them, because I have started using circles for mixed species like your bream and gurnards and stuff, which I use pop-ups for, and over rough. Most of my rough ground clip down rigs are with pop-ups, so you can either use like those ones there, the Tronics ones, where they're on a float stop system, where you just slide it on, they fix themselves on, or you can use loose ones that you'll have to put like a float stop above it to stop it sliding up your snood though. And then going on to lines, there's 2 lines I use for pretty much all of my fishing. That is the Tronics Pro Xenon leader line. This stuff is £75, which is a 0.80. That's way more than heavy enough for backbones, for pulleys, up and overs, clip down rigs. Because obviously a crimp will weaken your line, but a 0.80 is more than heavy enough for a clip down rig. People seem to think you need like £100 line for a clip down rig, when in my opinion that's really heavy. You don't really, like I've used the only other line I use is a Maxima Chameleon. Now this stuff, the £60 line is a 0.77, and I've used that now with 8-ounce leads, 3 clip downs, and I've never snapped one. I used to use the £80, but I was in my mate's shop, Daniel Crump of Halton Road Dangling, and he was making rigs with that in the 60. And I was just looking, I was thinking it's a lot neater, a bit thinner, because I like neat rigs. I like to keep all my components as small as possible, because I think it has an effect. Because nothing I hate more than seeing a rig with massive beads and swivels, because it just looks very well, it just looks rough, I think, and you don't need it. I think it does have an effect on your fishing. And one thing I will say is I am sponsored by Tronix Pro, and you're probably thinking, why using other brands of lines? I am sponsored by them. I do use pretty much, well, most of my stuff is Tronix Pro, but there are brands, other brands that I use, like this, Maxima. I use that a lot for a lot of my rigs. I'd be lying to say 100% of my fishing tackle, from rods, reels, lines and terminal tackle, is Tronix Pro. I think anyone that's sponsored by a company uses other brands. I think that's just natural, because one company can't supply the best of everything, and I think that's natural, because obviously that's why you need Penn to make amazing reels, just because it's such a big market to go into to do everything amazing. So like the next thing, beads. I use clear beads. I would show you, but a tiny little 3mm bead, you probably won't see it. And the other beads I use for my rigs are the breakaway, like the pear-shaped beads, and I like them because they're really neat. You could buy them on, they're just like on little things like that, you just snap them off as you use them. And then next you can obviously use a tape measure to measure your hook links. So obviously next thing then is your terminal tackle. Now I'm fortunate, like I said, I'm obviously very fortunate to be sponsored by Tronix Pro, so I tend to have things in bulk. I have this tray here with all my components in. I just have that on the side when I'm rig making, but obviously not everyone's fortunate to be in that position, so they buy as you need it, which is obviously fair enough. Now for my swivels, for my hooks, basically for you, so your top hook link has got a swivel, and then your middle hook link and bottom hook link needs a cascade. So for the top hook link, I use a size 4 or 6 swivel. So I'll get out me a size 4 swivel. For the top swivel for the rig that connects your shock leader, I use a size 2, more than strong enough. Now these are the stainless steel Tronix ones, and I can't quite remember the poundage, but they are way overgunned. Not saying overgunned as in you don't need it, but you don't need anything stronger basically. And then obviously I need then 2 cascade swivels. Again, they're the stainless steel ones. The only thing you'll find when you put them all in a box like this, they link up together. But there, so I got a size 2 swivel, a size 4 swivel and 2 cascades. Then you need 1 spring, like so. No chance you're going to see that, but there we are. It's a thin little spring, it is what it is. And that's all that we need out of the box of tricks. So the next thing is obviously making everything, so let's get to it. Right, so the first thing I do when making a clip down rig with dongles is to tie the dongles first. There's only one reason for that, is because that's the most tedious, boring part of it. So I get that out of the way quick. So on average for this kind of rig for mixed fishing is a 4cm dongle or 40mm dongle, whatever. What's that in inches? Because I'm not sure inches. That's about 1.5 inches, say, which is more than big enough. because I prefer a shorter bait and a fatter bait rather than long and thinner. And what you can do, because if you do find it fiddly to tie dongles accurately, is tie them a bit longer, and then you can tie knots in them like there to shorten it down. Like this is 80-pound braid, and knot in that shortens it by about 5 millimeters. So that, like that now is a 4 centimeter dongle. That was 45 millimeters, say 4.5 centimeters. So I tied the knot in, it's dropped it down to 4. Just a little tip for you. And I know that 5 millimeters isn't really a lot. You're thinking, what's the difference in 5 mil? But it's just me being a bit, not OCD, but just a bit, I like them all the same, basically. Right, so obviously once the dongles are tied up, it's obviously onto your hook links next. Now, I quickly just tied them up off camera, because I'm sure you don't want me to watch me tie up just 3 hook links. A bit tedious. But basically, I use a perfection loop. As you can see there, you've got a perfection loop to attach the circle, and then for the dongles onto the circled hooks. Underneath the knot, you can literally just crimp, just squeeze the braid with the pliers, which flattens the braid, which helps you to put the hook through the center of it easier. But me, I just literally just bite it and just press on it with my teeth, and it just flattens it, just to make sure that hook is through the center. Now this video, I'm just literally gonna tie 10-inch hook links. Doesn't need to be anything specific. It's just easier for you to see when the rig is shorter when I'm clipping it up. So you got your top hook link, has a swivel on there, and then the middle and bottom hook link needs a cascade on there. Now, any of you that don't know, a cascade swivel is just a swivel with a slightly bent eye, the top eye, which you'll see why later, and a hook coming off the side of it to obviously take the hook link above that when it's clipped up. So that's them done. If you do want to see me, well, see how I tie a perfection loop and the dongle attach all together with a circle, I have done a video of that, just showing that specifically, and also how I bait it up. It's quite an old video now. I've changed a few things of baiting up dongles, so I might do another video, like an updated one of them at some point, but that's a separate thing altogether. So now the next step is to basically put all the components onto the backbone and basically start assembling the rig itself. So let's get on with that. Now what I do, I have the spool on my right hand side. I'm right handed, so I have it on my right hand side, and then I start off by just cutting a angle on the end of the line, which creates a little point. It's just easier to put beads on, and the spring, they just slide on nice and quick. I work top of the rig, I slide everything going up from the top hook link down to the bottom. So first things first, obviously, is the top hook link itself. Now I don't put a crimp and beads above the top hook link. You can do if you like, just to keep it all compressed down a bit, but I don't really bother myself. So I slide that up, get out the way, then I go with a bead, then goes on the spring. Now having that angle on the end of the line just helps get everything on a bit quicker. Then a crimp. Now that's everything up for the top hook link. Now we're on to the middle hook link. You need a spring, a bead, then your hook link. So the cascade swivels have to go on a very specific way. That should sit there fine. Well, I'll bring it when everything's on. I'll lay it on the table and bring you guys for a closer look. But where you'll see the opposite side of the cascade swivel to the hook is the bent in eye. Now you want the bent in eye is just to help everything sit flush with the backbone. So if I just grab that. So now what you can do is basically grab the hook of the cascade and then go down through that eye of the swivel, and that it will be on the right way if you're not 100%. Now once that's on, I go with another bead. Don't want to go on then. And then to lock everything in for the middle hook link is another spring. Now you'll find it'll probably just go off on its own little journey the rest of the rig here, but don't worry, it ain't going to tangle, and if it does, we'll untangle it. So that's just dangling there, minding its own business. Then for the bottom hook link, I go with a crimp, another bead, and then the hook link again. Same procedure as the middle hook link, this one. Again, having that, make sure you got the cascade the right way. And then another bead, and to finish the rig off, another crimp. Then to lock everything off, now this is the bottom end of the rig, so I tie on an imp, and I just put the imp on my lead, and then tie it on then. That locks everything on. So that's tied down there fine. Cut the tag off. Now what I'll do, I'll bring you for a closer look now to show you the order that everything goes on, just in case it was a bit awkward to see at a bit of a distance. Right, so hopefully that's focused enough for you to see. So starting at the bottom, I've got my imp, then I've got a crimp, bead, bottom hook link, then another bead and another crimp. That's my bottom hook link all done. And then I've got, for my middle hook link, then there's another, same as the bottom, so you got your crimp, bead, cascade, bead, crimp. Then for your top hook link, I've got a crimp, bead, spring, bead, and then my final hook link. So that's, hopefully you can pick that all up there. Bring it close, it might be a little bit blurry, but hopefully that's easy enough for you guys to see. Right, so that's that there then. Now, the next step is to obviously cut the length of the backbone. Now, to get the correct length, I literally just simply clip it all up. So my bottom hook link goes on the imp. Then my middle hook link then clips onto the bottom hook link. Now it's the exact same procedure for a 2-hook clip down, except you just got one less hook link, so your bottom hook link is all gone, so you just got your 2. Now so that's all clipped up there now, so I just lent that over the armrest of the chair. Now that's the finished length of the rig. Now if you're making multiple rigs, what you can do with your first rig is use that backbone there. When I cut that, use that as basically a template, so you can cut loads of hook links and loads of backbones without having to do this on everyone, because it takes a bit longer then. So if I just hook that lead over the edge of the table. Now I always give it a bit extra above the swivel. Just let that all go. It's not going to go anywhere now. Cut that off. And then tie on your swivel to finish your rig off. Don't do what I just done. To tie the knot, I put a swivel behind my teeth and pull it to tighten it. Don't do that. I shouldn't really show that, because it's not really the best way. Really, you should use a knot puller. Basically like a little handle with a hook on it. You put it in the eye of the swivel and tighten it, but I haven't got one of them here. So basically, there we are. That's everything loose on the backbone there. So next step is the last step. Now that is to crimp everything on. So I'll get the table moved out the way, get the stand in, and show you that next step to finish it all off. Right, so now we are going on to clipping everything up, and then obviously crimping the crimps to get the tension in the rig. This is a good tip now. Like, I need both my hands to clip everything up, but I'm holding my pliers. This is a good tip. Put them in your pocket. Frees up a hand. Good, that, wasn't it? So basically, to get everything clipped up, I just clip my rig up. Now this is a bit time consuming, but as you have more experience with this, you'll speed up a lot. Like when I'm making these up and I'm making like 20 rigs up at a time, this is really quick because you just get in a routine. So what I do, I clip up the bottom 2 hook links. So the bottom hook links on the imp, the middle hook links clip to the top of the bottom, and I clip the top hook link onto the middle one, and I pinch that on so it drop in, and then I get my pliers. Now this is the reason why I like narrow-ended pliers. I put the pliers in the middle of the crimp, and when I crimp it then, it's only the middle of the crimp that's crimped, because if you go the full length of the crimp, the ends will end up digging into your backbone of the line and actually weaken it that little bit more than necessary. And if you did ever want to adjust it, you can just crimp it the opposite way than what it's been crimped. It loosens it so you can adjust it then. So anyway, let's grab the middle of that top crimp, and I pull that. If I go on the other side, it might be easier for you to see actually. It's a bit fiddy than what I thought this, doing it on camera. But anyway, I lift that up until I can let go. Now that's just holding enough tension to hold everything together. Now I just go at probably about 10 mil and then crimp that. Crimp. And that's everything held in there. And what I aim for is slight bit of slack in the backbone. It's probably, you probably can't see it, but it's only just enough. And that is enough then to basically hold the rig in placement. Then I just go ahead and just crimp all the other crimps in place then. So that's the top of the middle. Then I slide the crimp up to secure the bottom of that hook link. Then the top of the bottom hook link. You don't need to go mad with crimping, as in like pressure. It's surprising, when you put it in the middle, it tends to grip it quite well. So that's that, all crimped up. So that's really your finished rig. I'll just give it a little test. Just put a slight little tension, lift that imp up, and it's all unclipped lovely. So yeah, that's the finished rig, guys. So I hope I explained it well. I tried to not go too in detail to make it a long video, because it ends up being a bit boring than I'd imagine. I hope that's been useful for you guys to see. So there we have a finished 3-hook clip down rig. Now obviously, like I said before, if you want to do a 2-hook, you just miss out the bottom, and obviously then you just got 2 hooks. I will do another video one day showing the loop rig, because that's another one of my favorites. But for that video, well, for this video, that is it. So yeah, let me know in the comments if there's other rigs you want me to see me make, because I am more than happy to do anything. So yes, rig completed. There we go, guys. There's a 3 clip down, ready to be baited up and slung out there and catch some fish. So I'm going to go ahead and make a few more of these now for my next few sessions. So until then, I'll see you on the beach, and hopefully some fish for you to see. See you then.